Good morning, everybody. Today is Signature Blue Day. You know, for everybody who has been around for the 16 years that I've been doing what I do, Signature Blue was always my color. I wore this royal blue, blue, black, blue, black, blue, black. I had this thing about blue and black, and then I kind of ventured over and I got into the pinks. And today I got into the blue part of my closet, and I said, it's time to wear blue today. So I hope that it is going to be a beautiful day for you with blue skies and beautiful things happening. And I hope that you will be safe and get out there and enjoy the holiday that we're approaching. Today we're going to share something with you. I'm trying to find free things that you can do. I want you to get out. I want you to enjoy. Don't get in the crazy traffic. Don't get out and rip and do stuff that make it dangerous. But get out and have fun. And one of the best things you can do that is free is drive to downtown Ball Ground and park at the Botanical Garden. Take yourself a picnic. They have picnic tables, or stop in one of the great restaurants in Ball Ground and pick up some food and just walk around that beautiful, peaceful garden. It is absolutely beautiful. It has all kinds of things blooming right now. And it's free, and it's downtown next to City Hall. So if you have not been to Ball Ground lately, or if you haven't been to the Botanical Garden, a lot of people go to the main street and they forget that we have the Botanical Garden. It's free, and it is there because a whole bunch of hardworking people started 6 years ago and have created this beautiful, beautiful place for you to enjoy, absolutely free of charge. So come and be there if you would like to plan a small wedding there, or even a large wedding if you can figure out how to do that. You can have a wedding at the Botanical Garden in Ball Ground, so check that out. But on your 4th of July things, try to do things that don't cost you a lot of money. Blue Ridge is going to be doing a really awesome event, and it's not going to cost you a dime to get to go see their fantastic fireworks. They're going to be on Sunday night, and I will tell you, Sunday night, you are going to have the opportunity to sit in your recliner in your house. ETC is going to be broadcasting live the fireworks. Now that is pretty awesome. That's free. That's to you in your home, in your recliner, with your popcorn, with your Coke, or with your sweet tea. And you just sit there and you enjoy. You don't have to fight the traffic. But if you're visiting and you're staying in one of the many thousands of cabins up in Blue Ridge, I bet you will venture over to the lake and you will enjoy the fireworks up close and personal. It's going to be a really cool night, and again, it's really a great opportunity for ETC to bring this to y'all, because I know a lot of folks are like me. I don't like the 4th of July traffic. I just can't deal with it. So I'd much rather be at home, and thank you very much for ETC doing this, because I get to sit at home and watch Blue Ridge's fireworks. I got to see Ball Ground's fireworks up close and very personal last Saturday night, and they did a fantastic job. There's so many things around that are going to be free. There's going to be a parade up in Blue Ridge. There's going to be things happening that you can be a part of with your children, and it doesn't cost you anything. Now, one of the things that we used to share a lot of daycations with y'all, and today we're going to share a daycation that we took, one of many trips to Loretta Lynn's ranch. And I can tell you something about Loretta Lynn's ranch. There's something there for everybody. Most of the time when we went, it's when a concert was happening. Or we would go sometimes and we would go to the museum, we would tour her house, we would just spend time on the property. You can walk out by the old bridge that used to be there, that sadly a flood destroyed the bridge and destroyed a lot of things around it. But you can go and just spend time and energy, and you don't have to spend any money, but it is an almost 5-hour drive up there. And it is absolutely beautiful. You go out I-40 west, so it's like 60 some odd miles west of Nashville. But if you're in the area and you're watching us on YouTube, or you're watching us on Facebook, then you may live in that area. It is a great way to spend the 4th of July. Just go out and go to Hurricane Mills and just spend some time. You can get out and walk, you can park, you can hike, it's a beautiful place. And it really was a working ranch farm for many, many years while her husband Doolittle ran it, and now they have caretakers, and it's still absolutely beautiful. They have the motocross race there once a year. And if you haven't been, here's a daycation I wish you would take. I kind of wish you'd take it as a staycation and don't drive back, because we did that. And I'll tell you, it's not fun to drive back that far and that long, so it might be better if you did it as a staycation. All right, we're going to go to Loretta Lynn's Ranch, and we're going to share some other photos with you that happened around the 4th of July. There's something about getting together with friends and food and fun, and that happens on the 4th of July, so here we go. I'll be back in just a few minutes.
I must make up my mind today what to have and to hold. A poor man's roses or a rich man's gold. One's as wealthy as a king in a palace, though he's callous and cold. He may learn to give his heart for love instead of buying it with gold. And then the poor man's roses and the thrill when we kiss will be memories of paradise that I'll never miss. And yet the hand that brings the rose tonight is the hand I will hold. For the rose of love means more to me, more than any rich man's gold. And then the poor man's roses and the thrill when we kiss will be memories of paradise that I'll never miss. Yet the hand that brings a rose tonight is the hand I will hold. For the rose of love means more to me, more than any rich man's gold. If you got leaving on your mind, tell me now, get it over. Hurt me now, get it over. If you got leaving on your mind, if there's a new love in your heart, tell me now, get it over. Hurt me now.
Okay, we're back. Now, I'm going to take time to read you a tiny, tiny bit of the book. When you think about your life, what is your first memory? How old were you with your first memory?
About 3.
About 3. Okay, this was my memory at 4. I have a memory.
I'm back. Y'all got to see beautiful Angela when she went through that stage of coloring her hair. She went from a blonde to a redhead, back to a blonde, and then who knows what else. It's really cool to see my beautiful daughter sitting here beside me. You know, I look back and I think of things that we could have done differently. We could have done more of this, we could have done more of that, we could have spent more time together. But I understand that God's plan is perfect, and so we move on. And that's what you do. You move on and you pray your way through it, and you get through that. One of the ways that I got through losing a child was to stay active and to stay busy. And at first, I stayed at home and I was depressed And then I said, I can't do this anymore. So I started getting out, going places. So I want to encourage any and all of you who are sitting at home thinking, I've lost a loved one, I've lost this, I've lost that. Don't do that. Get out and stay busy. Angela would want me to be busy, and trust me, I have been busy. We're going to share now an interview that we did with somebody that we all love, and he was one of Angela's favorite entertainers. Aaron Tippins is a fantastic musician. He's a great guy, and he's going to be back in Hiawassee for the Georgia Mountain Fair, which is really cool that it is coming back, finally coming back after that year of COVID. And so here we go with an interview that we did a few years ago with a wonderful man who gives back. Every time he steps on stage, he's giving back. Here we are.
Hiawassee, Georgia, and I'm joined by the hottest thing in trucking today. Has nothing to do with music. Truckers love you. They love your new CD. The music is phenomenal. Now, I host a morning talk show 5 days a week, but I also own a trucking company. So I'm here tonight because I wanted to interview somebody else tomorrow. I heard your music is trucking. That's what it's all about.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's really cool. You know, I'm a former truck driver. And
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I've carried the CD out of my pocket for many, many years. But, you know, I just thought it was time to try to bring that music back. It's old, great music, but people, they love it.
Great music.
And so, you know, I thought it'd be a cool time to do it. We're having a lot of fun with it. It's given me the opportunity to go back and kind of relive my days in the trucking world and get reacquainted with all it takes to be a trucker again. And so I'm thrilled about it. So it's doing well, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
It's a great tribute to the truckers because nobody knows what it's like to be on the road 6 days,
Absolutely.
come home one night, get it together, and leave it.
Absolutely.
Now you do because you're on the bus all the time. Let's talk about what it's like to either travel.
Well, you know, usually that's when we work is on the weekend. So our work week starts about Wednesday or Thursday, and it goes to about Sunday or Monday. And then we may have a day in town, 2 days, maybe 3 days sometimes, and then we're back out again. You know, but when we're in town, we got business there, you know, music business. So it's like a trucker. You're on all the time.
But your children are with you. That's phenomenal.
Well, you know, I'm lucky in regards. Well, I don't know about lucky. I'm just very blessed. You know, if it's close and they don't have school, they come with Dad.
Okay, talk about the old music. Do people still want to hear the old music?
Every night I get rewarded with knowing that yes they do. When I look out there and I see them singing along to Truck Driving Man and Eastbound and Down, oh man, you know they love it. They still love it. I still love it. We have a great time here in Tippin Show, singing along with all these old great tunes.
Now tell people how they can see you. Do you have a website?
Oh yeah, just AaronTippin.com, and have a new nutrition site called Tippin Nutrition, so you can check that out.
Well, listen, let me tell you.
MySpace and Facebook and all that, everything.
Your show is the best workout ever because you work the whole time you're on stage. You are the hardest working man in country music today. Honey, you were pumping iron, you were blowing horns, you were running back and forth. Do you ever tire?
I am fixing to hit the bump. Believe me, when it's about this time every night, I get on there and I'll have me a sandwich or something, and buddy, and then I hit the bump. Buddy, I'm tired. When you get to be an old guy, you got to turn.
Yeah, right. Where are you going next?
You know, actually, we're off for fall break for 2 weeks, so me and Mom and the boys will be on our way to Gatlinburg. That's our favorite place to go.
Good for you. Now, where's the next closest place for me? Because people will drive a couple hours to see you.
You know, actually, I don't think we've got anything left in the southeast.
Oh, wow.
It's all in the Midwest to the northeast, and so sorry about that, but we'll be back around. So everybody just keep listening. You can find out where we're playing, what's going on at www.aarontippin.com.
Okay. The name of the new CD is what?
Aaron Tippin in Overdrive.
In Overdrive. Now, can people buy it? Where's it available?
You know, it's available on my website. They can get it there, or the usual place. It's really in the truck stops too.
Okay.
I think we've had a lot of the truck stops that really want to carry this because it was so nostalgic to bring back this old great.
You know what we want? We want to pull up to big rigs and we want to hear it cranked up with
Hey,
Aaron
that's
Tippin.
right,
We want to hear it with Aaron Tippin. Now, it's been a pleasure being here. You were surprised. I came to see somebody else, and imagine I sat there and it was like old days. You know, the trucking. I've been trucking 31 years. Had no idea anybody had ever paid tribute like you have to truckers. Thank you very much. And thank you for what you do to the American soldiers.
Hey, it's
That
my
was the
pleasure.
best part of the show.
Well, it's my pleasure to always honor our troops and their commitment to us and the sacrifices they make every single day. You know, I'll tell you, I'm a lucky guy. Every year at Thanksgiving, we go to the battlefield and we visit our troops and let them know they're loved and appreciated. And when I see the crowd stand up every night, you know, it just makes you proud to be an American.
I wanted to ask you about that. When is your next trip abroad?
We leave Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, we go every year at Thanksgiving. We go to Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever they deploy us to serve. You know, it's entertainment.
This Thursday, we're going to do a show. We're going to pay tribute to the soldiers. We do packages to soldiers every week. And our
great.
community has come together. We have 100,000 viewers who come together and send us packages, and we send them to the troops. It's amazing. And if everybody can come together, and you saw tonight, you bring folks together.
Well,
You bring folks together.
it really makes me proud to be an American when I see other Americans
Your
so proud.
your guitar is so phenomenal. The red, white, and blue.
Thank you. I'm proud of that old guitar. It's spent as much time on the battlefield as I have, so I'm pretty proud of that old
It was
guitar.
awesome. Aaron, thank you so much. It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And I'll send you a copy of this.
Good deal.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks again.
Here's my card. Here.
Thank you.
Okay, that was so much fun. He is a bundle of energy. He is a great guy, and he does give back by going to the battlefield on Thanksgiving. You think about that. You're sitting at a table with your family, and you're having your meal, and there are people who give and give and give, and Aaron is one of those people. Now we're going to go back to giving, and this began in the 1800s. When we think about America becoming an independent country, we became an independent country because we wanted to have our right to religion, our right to freedom, our right to bear arms, our right to live our life the way that God planned our life. And in the hills of North Carolina, Tennessee, right up in the corner, a wonderful little place started in the late 1800s. Today, you can go and visit that place absolutely free. And when I tell you I'm going to send you on a daycation that doesn't cost you anything, the only thing it's going to cost you is if you decide to stop at one of the many great restaurants on the way. But I want you to go, sit back now, get yourself a cup of coffee, relax in your recliner, and I want you to spend some time watching. This is an interview I did with several people who love and are involved and knew the history of Fields of the Wood. This is a beautiful place. It is less than an hour from where I'm sitting right now, and you could get there today. You could spend some time, you could reflect, you could pray, you could read the Bible verses, and I guarantee you when you leave there, you'll feel better. So here we go. We're going to take a trip to Hiawassee, and you're going to see a beautiful area that would cost you nothing to visit.
What's the name of this town we're in?
This is actually, I don't know. It's in North Carolina. We just came out of Turtletown, and we are in North Carolina. I guess you would call it Hiawassee Dam. It's part of Hiawassee Dam anyway.
Ed, I've been here 5 times this year. In about the last 18 months, I've come here 5 times. And we are in Fields of the Woods, which many people won't even know exist. Now, I remember hearing stories about pilgrimages here where there were thousands of people and cars parked for a mile. And every time I've been here, it's me and a couple other people. What's going on here? Tell me a little history.
Well, when you look at the history of the organization, it was started in 1884 by a Baptist pastor or preacher named R.G. Sperling. And the early church was started as the Christian Union. It was called the Christian Union. And Pastor Sperling had prayed for 2 years for revival. And in 1886, 8 people joined the reunion. or the Union, and his son, R.G. Sperling Jr., was also baptized and began to preach as well, or ordained. And they started a new organization, of course, called the Christian Union. It then went for about 10 years, and in that 10-year period, they prayed for revival, didn't grow much. But you have to imagine what this place must have looked like.
Now,
84.
Okay, 1884, people travel by wagon.
Even by wagon was difficult because, I mean, you're looking at mountains, even horseback. Most of the time, I say most of the people traveled by walking.
Okay.
So the dedication was there, and the resistance, of course, was there to R.G. Sperling.
Now, we are here where North Carolina and Tennessee meet.
Right on the line, virtually.
Okay. All right. Now, the resistance he met, there was some violence. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It was terrible violence, and I take this from a book called Like a Mighty Army, which was written by Charles W. Kahn, who was part of the Church of God. And according to Mr. Kahn, and he did a lot of research and talked to a lot of people that still live in this area that were related, offspring of the Sperlings and others that were in the initial church. And yes, there was a lot of resistance as far as people being beaten with whips, buildings being burned down.
Because of their different religion, or because they wanted to exercise their right to religion?
It was just the difference, the Holy Ghost revival that had broken out.
Okay.
And people were just in resistance of it.
You know, today in 2010, I see revivals, I see Holy Ghost revivals breaking out because the world is in a shape today. People are looking for answers. Do you think in 1884 they were looking for answers?
Oh, I believe they were hungry. I believe that the world had gotten complacent and somewhat arrogant, even though it was sparse population here. There was still a tinge of arrogance, maybe, or whatever it was in that day. They were looking for a great move of God. And you know, when God isn't in us to the fullest, the Bible proclaims that we're the temple of the Holy Ghost. And when we're not full, I believe people search for it. And certainly this man did, and he had the determination to find God in the fullest. And he stuck in there. Oh, in fact, Mr. Sperling, R.G. Sperling, died that year. I believe it was 1886. He passed away, and his son continued the work. And the few handful of followers determined to make it go.
Right.
And of course, today there are 4 million strong in the Church of God, and we're sitting on the Church of God of Prophecy property here at Fields of the Wood, which were all one at one time, because the Christian Union was then changed. The name was changed to the Holiness Church as more people began to join. And a man named Tomlinson, I believe it was A.L. Tomlinson, then joined the church, and he was one of the leaders of the church. There was a rift that happened, and they split, and the Church of God went one way, and the Church of God of Prophecy went another. But there was great revival here. The old Shearer Schoolhouse, the site of it, is still here, not far from where we're sitting today.
Right, I've been there.
And that schoolhouse was burned down by
And actually, it was their first meeting place.
It was.
And so it was burned down in, you know, basically to say, you're not going to do this. You're not going to worship God the way you want to.
That's exactly what happened.
That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
These people were shot at. They were stoned. They were just persecuted to the point where most people would give up and say, you know, have it.
4 million strong, they did not give up.
They were determined, and their missionary work, I can attest to the fact that it's effective there. In many parts of the world today, seeing people saved by their missionaries. In fact, I was sharing that story with you earlier, a man that just preached at our church recently, who was part of a what would you call it? Not a mob, but a tribe in Africa. And the missionary from the Church of God went there and began to preach. This fellow's grandfather was the witch doctor, the medicine man, and of course that was real resistance. And the young man was saved. He was the only one saved that day, and came back to America and attended Lee College and wound up preaching at our church.
Wow.
In fact, another interesting story, at the time I was praying for a job, we had prayer. He laid hands on me and prayed after that service, and the next day, I won't go into all the detail, but I was called with the best job I ever had in my life.
Isn't that something?
And when I finally got to the company, they told me it was miraculous how that happened, because the resume I had sent in was lost and whatever. So I personally was raised in the Catholic Church, and I really found the Lord here in a true way, and was saved and have been in the Church of God now for 35 years.
Wow. What does it mean to you to see this property where thousands and thousands of people used to visit? Truly, I've probably been here more this year than anybody you'll ever meet, because I was fascinated with it. I kept asking questions. Why is it just sitting here? Why is it not doing what it was meant to do? It was meant to bring revival, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and I'm saddened by it, but yet you understand what goes on, because Satan is always on the job.
Satan works overtime.
He works overtime, and the Bible tells us to resist him and he'll flee, but he flees for a season. He's always right back there again, and it seems like the more work gets started and you begin to see a great movement, he comes in, and as you could see in this book, if he can't find one way to disturb, he'll find another. He's very deceptive in his ways. But you know what? I read the last chapter, and we win the book. We win the war.
That's awesome.
We do win in the end. So we just have to hang in there. And R.G. Sperling is a great inspiration to me, because I think back again of what went on here and the persecution these people faced in the early days, and how they, even if they didn't have that persecution, just to get to church in that day.
Right.
I see people today that use excuses. The car wouldn't start, or it was too cold out.
Had to run in my pantyhose.
Or whatever it is.
Whatever, yeah.
But these people would walk for miles in this weather, and not on paved roads, but I mean, even horseback riding here was difficult in that day. And many of them walked for miles and would go place to place to evangelize, to have missionary work, and won many people to the Lord. And of course, the same revival broke out then in the early 1900s in California in Azusa Street, and worldwide. There are, back in the early turn of the century, there were a lot of revivals breaking out. And I see that happening again today. I believe the time of the Lord is close at hand, and I believe that men and women are hungry for the Lord.
Right.
And revival will break out again.
Right. Well, today, when we planned this trip, it was very windy at my house. It was very cold. There was a drizzle of rain this morning. And your grandson being my cameraman, I said, you know, Nathan, I made plans to be with your grandfather today, and it's not looking so good. As we approached your area, the clouds lifted, the skies opened up, it was totally blue. We got here, this is the most beautiful place, and it was truly in God's plan, because you and I have talked about this for a while. I've been coming here enough to know that this has to be shared with people. Every time I come, I'm just totally blown away. The tomb, the crosses, the 10 Commandments, the Psalms. I mean, to me, this is where you want to go and just reflect. It is such an amazing, amazing place.
Yes, it really is. And they are doing a lot of work here. They're going to rebuild the area, that the pavilion where they kept the plane.
Let's talk a little bit about that plane.
Okay. In the early days, they had a small single-engine plane. Probably couldn't go far without refueling. But there is an airport here, and you can drive up to the airport. In fact, it's a very interesting drive up there, because there's a lot to see up there as well. But they would take off from that runway in that small plane and travel around, preach, maybe stay gone a day or two, a week, whatever, and then come back and park the plane here and have church here and what have you, back in these woods.
And how many people do you think have come here and worshiped God?
Oh, there has to have been, over the years, probably millions. I'm not sure how long this place has been here. I'm
Okay,
certain
from
that-
1884, it started down the road. Okay, and it progressed, and then it split, and then it progressed again. And the first time I came here, it was very, very sad looking, and it needed revamping. And actually, about the third time I came here, the pool that we have some shots of, the baptismal was full of stagnant water. And today it's full of beautiful water, and I understand there was a baptizing here a couple of weeks ago. Now, does that mean they're on the road to recovery?
I believe they are. I actually belong myself to the Church of God, and again, this is the Church of God of Prophecy, very close. We're one at one time. So I don't have a close knowledge of everything that goes on here, although I do come out here often. I just think it's such a beautiful area, so serene. And you can really understand as you walk around the property how the early founders might have listened to God as he spoke in these mountains.
Right.
And that's what they claim happened to them. But I believe they are coming back, the Church of God of Prophecy. I personally wish they would join again with the Church of God. It would be a very strong organization. And who knows, someday that may happen. But they are coming back. They were financially strapped for a while. I believe there was a split in the church, and that's probably what happened. People, the minute some split comes about, they quit tithing.
Right.
And
Well,
it's-
in today's economy, everybody is
economy.
struggling. There's so many churches struggling.
yeah, that's absolutely right. People struggle without a job, and hopefully, that's going to turn around soon too. The Bible tells us, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves." If we turn from our wicked ways, God will hear us and bless our land again. And I believe there are a lot of people praying that prayer.
Right.
And God, I believe, is a man of his word and will turn this thing around.
I think so. I want to talk a little bit about, I have an aunt who was raised country Baptist, and she became a Catholic and was until the day she passed away. She went from Southern Country Baptist to Catholic. You went from Catholic to Church of God. Tell me a little bit about the difference in what you see with your religion today, because obviously religion is a big part of your life today.
Yes, it is. And basically, the Catholic Church preaches Christ, not with power like the Church of God or the Baptist Church.
I've been to Catholic Mass, so I understand a little bit about it. I've been to a Catholic funeral. I understand a little bit, but I don't understand the difference, because I told you earlier I've been to Methodist Church, Baptist, Pentecostal Church, Christ Church, God, you name it. I've been to all of them, and what I see in common is God.
That's true, and Christ is preached in both. But the main big difference is, in all my years, younger years growing up in the Catholic Church, I never heard salvation preached, being born again. You would go to the priest in a confessional and tell your sins to the priest, and the priest would forgive your sins. I don't criticize anybody in anybody's religion, but I just don't believe that that's the way. When I began to read the Bible tells us clearly, Jesus said to call no man your father. And I read that, and I began to think about that, and I began to think about who I was really worshiping in that church. And there was more worship of the Pope and the priest, I believe, than there was of Jesus Christ. But Jesus Christ is the only way. And I would ask my wife and others, what does it mean to be born again? And I would go to churches that the Spirit of God would begin to move. It would literally scare the devil out.
I think it's intended to, Ed.
It is indeed.
It's intended to.
I used to work in the radio business. I was an engineer at a radio station, and we were broadcasting a live revival at an all-black church. And I was in the corner recording that or broadcasting it, and that service just got the Holy Ghost fell.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never been in anything like that in my life, and I was like Wendy Bagwell if
You could have got
made
a door.
out. But you know what? When I left that church that night, I knew those people had something that I didn't have. And I searched for it ever since. I would ask people, what does it mean? What do you mean be born again? That's hard to explain to somebody. Until you experience it, and experience
Until
the
you get
power.
that feeling coming across and you just know it's right.
You know that you know
that you know. Yeah.
And your life has changed. See,
Yeah.
that's what happened in these mountains, and I believe many lives were changed. And of course, it began to affect the liquor stores and the tobacco stores, and I think that's another reason they came against people so much, because lives were changed.
Right.
And when you begin to affect someone's income,
Right.
which the loss of liquor revenue probably did, or whatever.
Right.
And that was another reason they probably resisted. But at any rate, it is real, and I would never turn back or change. I experienced that, and
Is your family still Catholic?
all of my family, my mother's side and father's side is, and of course they've abandoned me years ago. Don't speak to me today.
Wow, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not.
So you could write a book about persecution yourself.
I could, but not like they had in
Right.
this beginning.
Not violence.
Not,
but yeah,
oh no,
yeah,
never
yeah.
shot at it.
Yeah.
Although they probably liked it. Sometimes I
Wow.
won't.
Wow, that is so strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it's people get indoctrinated with their beliefs sometimes, and they just don't really look for the truth.
Did you try to talk to him and
Oh, I
explain
have.
to him?
I
Yeah.
have in the past, and it falls on deaf ears. So the Bible says if they don't hear you, to shake the dust from your feet.
Right.
At
Right.
some point in time, you have to do that. I still
have to
pray
do it.
for them. I still love them,
Right.
but I haven't been able really to talk to them about it since they're
Wow. Wow.
bound.
Now, what about your family here? I know Nathan. Where does he go to church?
Nathan goes with us, although our church doesn't have any youth right now. We have a lot of people that are transient. They go to Florida in the
A lot of
winter.
gray-haired folks like
A lot
me.
of gray hair. Some of the people, though, that go there, Brother Bill Forrester, a lot of people will know him, has been there for, well, he's 90-some years old, still as sharp as a tack.
Wow.
And he was there in the very beginnings. So, and he could tell you a lot about what went on being that old, but he still goes to the church. We have another lady that's over 100 now, and of course she's too feeble to come, but she was here at the very beginnings. And a lot of folks in the area yet are still in the movement and know a lot about what went on here and so on. But Nathan sometimes goes there, but he likes a church with more youth in it.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah, he searches
I understand
one like
that.
that. So.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your wife. What religion does she practice?
She goes with me now to the Church of God. She was raised Baptist, and certainly Baptist has a wonderful, they believe the same way we do.
Absolutely.
There's very little difference in the doctrine.
Right.
But it's just in what you're comfortable with, where you're led, I believe.
Right.
I've
right.
been where I'm at now for 25 years, I guess. I have a nephew that's a Baptist pastor in Blue Ridge, pastors a church, but she was raised Baptist and now goes to church with me.
Okay, 35 years into this, would you ever turn back?
Never.
Never.
I think about that. I thought about that when I read it in the
Because you
scriptures.
said your family basically abandoned you, but your life is so blessed. You're such an amazing man. You've had so many great things happen to you, and you gave it all up because of your beliefs.
Yeah, I would never turn back. That's right. There's nothing really to turn back to. I mean, if you gained the whole world,
Right.
what would you really gain?
Right.
Because we're all going the same way. It's appointed unto man once to die. And we'll answer to God then.
That's right. Well, this is such a gorgeous place. We're going to take a break, and we're going to go to, we've shown a little bit of footage. We haven't been over to the Psalms. We've gotten a little shot of the tomb. What is it like? What does it take to maintain? How many grounds are here? How many acres?
You know what? I really don't know, but I would guess 10
Over,
there may be that many.
maybe 50?
I would guess 50, but I would say there's probably 10 that they take care of. There's a lot of wooded area here. But it is, like you say, a gorgeous area.
Beautiful.
It's just so serene.
Now, to give directions, we come out of Ducktown, Tennessee, go through Turtletown, And from Turtletown, we stay on the road that comes right into North Carolina. And, you know, I don't know the name of the road, but I bet you we get it for folks. But it's such a wonderful drive. And it took us about an hour and 35 minutes today to get here from Jasper. So it's not very far at all.
No, it's about 20 minutes from Ducktown. And you do stay on that road. When the road forks at the old Turtletown School or
Right.
post office, you stay to the right.
Uh-huh.
If you went to the left, you'd be going towards Tellico Plains. You stay to the right, it's about 4 or 5 miles beyond that, and you're here in the park. Now, they still have, I believe, the Easter services here.
I was told that today.
Those are wonderful services. People come from all over the world, really, and they have probably a 2 or 3 day meeting here where they sing and preach, and really it goes on day and night.
Wow.
It's really something to come out here for that. The Spirit really moves. The place is really packed out at that time.
Well, it's so funny. When we first got here, there was music playing, and Peg McCamey was singing, and my co-host Matt Dibler was singing "I Have Not Forgotten." That was the song of the year a couple of years ago. I think that's one of the things about this church. No matter what happens tomorrow, there are so many people who will not forget the pilgrimages that they made here as children with their families.
Well, that's
You know,
right.
this place will not be forgotten.
That's right. I believe that's right. And as I said earlier, there are a lot of people that are descendants of the founders of this church. There's a lady that helps my wife clean our house who was a Bryant, and Mr. Bryant, W.L. Bryant, I believe it was one of the founders, early founders of the church. So yes, they still have a lot of offspring in the area, and a lot of people with knowledge of what went on here and through the years what happened.
Now, I notice there's a donation box. Other than the few donations that they probably get, how do they maintain this?
Some of the churches, the Church Got a Prophecy, still donate part of their portions of their tithes would come to the organization and keep it going. And there have been other churches. I noticed at the pool, someone had donated to, it was a church that got in Florida, I believe,
Right.
that had donated to keep it going.
Uh-huh.
But donations are a big factor here.
Right.
So people do donate that come out, and that's what keeps it going.
Well, we've come inside. Y'all knew we'd find food. We actually found an ice cream or two. We are once again in Fields of the Woods. This is an amazing story, and it got better when you walked in the door. Miss Vivian, tell me a little bit about your history and your relationship. Where's that book? Where's that? Okay, let's get this book, number one. You walked in with some treasures. This is Fields of the Wood, and this is from 1960. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, whose book was this?
it was my father's.
Okay, is your dad George?
Read.
George Reed, who passed away in 1960. Okay, now in this book, there is a photo of. Tell me a little bit about this house.
Well, Cherie and my grandma, her great grandmother and my grandma lived in that house, and I can remember going there. They had a wooden walkway, and Mom said that she lived there until she was a little girl, you know. And Grandpa had a store across the road from that, and it was a post office, general merchandise. And they sold it to the Church of God.
Okay, the Church of God bought this in what year?
Well, in that it says 1941.
Okay. And is that house still here today?
Well, the chimney's there and the old living room is there.
Okay. Where could we find that if people wanted to take a trip and find that?
You go back down to Low Fields Woods and make a right and go about a mile. No, it's about a fourth of a mile in. And then Cherie Schoolhouse and the Holy Ghost Marker's about a mile.
Right. Okay, now you brought in a photograph that has some amazing shots. We're going to talk about M.D. Kilpatrick is sitting in the buggy. A.G. Tomlinson, now we talked about him earlier. He is holding the Bible. J.B. Mitchell is standing, and the boys on the left. Can we talk about that? Luther Bryant, who is that? Okay, what about Homer Tomlinson?
He was Milton's, AJ's brother.
Okay. And let's see. The girls are Dolly Anderson. We know them. Do you think there are any of their descendants still around
I
here?
don't know. There's some Thomasons in there.
And this was taken in 1901. I love the way they dressed. Wouldn't you hate to have to iron those clothes? Oh my goodness gracious sakes alive. Now, you brought me some photographs too, some history of your family. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Your dad was one of the miners.
Yes.
This is a treasure. Now tell me a little bit about what year do you think this picture was taken?
It's probably in the late 30s or the early 40s. My daddy got blowed up in the mines in the 30s, and he went back to work in 41.
Okay.
And he was totally disabled, and Mom kept boarders during the TBA to take care of us, feed us.
Now, how old was your dad when this happened?
Gosh, I don't know. It's probably 1960. He was 60-something years old when he was 60.
And when we look at the photograph, your dad he has a pipe, and
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
identify him, can't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Boy, I wonder how many of these folks are still around.
Not many of them.
Probably not many. That's amazing. Okay, now this is something I love. Tell me a little bit about this lady. She was born in 1850 what?
1856 and died in 1956. And she
Okay.
taught Sunday school at Reach Chapel.
Uh-huh.
They would walk 3 miles and board the river, Hiwassee River, in a boat and walk 3 miles to Reach Chapel. And I've got a bunch of her little Sunday school cards.
That's funny because we were talking about today, people find an excuse not to go
Yeah.
to church. And she walked 3 miles and
3
then
miles.
got in a boat to make
Yeah.
it to church.
Yeah, they did.
Now, is this her birthday?
It's
Okay, 100th birthday. Mrs. Martha Reed observes her 100th birthday yesterday. How long has she been gone?
1956.
1956. Wow. So she's been gone almost as long as I am old. That is amazing. That is so amazing. Who is the lady in the photo with
That's her daughter.
Okay.
And she didn't have electricity, and she would tell about, she told us about the Indians coming and staying all night with them, and said they were friendly, and they had the Indian baskets.
Uh-huh.
And said,
What kind of Indians were in this area?
well, they came down to Hanging Dog to get material for baskets.
Uh-huh. Now, you have two wonderful photographs. This is an old postcard. Can we talk a little bit about these two gentlemen?
Well, one is A.J. Thomason was the first general overseer, and then,
Okay. And what year do we think this was? The General Overseers of the Church of God of Prophecy, let's see if it tells us a year. 1943. He died in 1943. So that is amazing. Now, you also brought me a picture. I love this building. Tell me a little bit about this, because I've never seen this. Or I
Well,
bet I have and I didn't know
yeah,
it.
the Nancables.
Uh-huh.
That is, there's one of the Nancables married MD's daughter, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
I'm not for sure.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I met the daughters.
Now,
before
where
they
is
died.
this house today?
That is at Ducktown. When you're driving into Ducktown, you can see the big house, I suppose, up on the hill.
It's the old funeral home, the old
Yeah.
Waters funeral home,
Yeah.
correct? Do you know, are there any of the Sperling descendants still living in the area, or the Bryants
There's a lot of Spurgeons. Yeah.
that still live in the
Yeah.
area?
Yeah.
How about the Bryants?
I don't know about that. That's what they.
Okay, now this is your daddy. Let's show this photograph. This is him younger, and this is him toward the end of his life. World War I, 22 years old. These are such treasures. I'm so glad you came to be with us today.
And this
These
was
are
my brother.
amazing. Okay, and this is your brother?
He died at 62.
Okay. Now, were y'all members of this church?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I still am.
You're still a member of this church. Now, how many people do you think, we were talking about this earlier, and Ed couldn't come up with a number, and I certainly couldn't. How many people do you think have actually worshipped here and possibly been saved here?
I don't know. I was 9-year-old when I got saved
Here?
in the sanctuary. We
Okay.
had church in the sanctuary.
Okay.
And I was telling someone today, I said this lady, she would let me walk to church with her. And we'd walk a mile and a half down where we lived. And my mom didn't believe in the church at the time, and so I would come with her.
Wow.
And we come to the egg rolling, Easter egg hunt and everything. And anyway, when I got saved, she just laughed and laughed and laughed.
Wow.
That's the way she rejoiced.
Wow. Now, did your mom ever become a member of the church?
Mom was one of the first 4 members.
Wow.
She thought she had died if she didn't join.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's what she said.
That is amazing.
And she played the piano for, Clara, how many years? 40-something or 50-something years?
Now, this is an old spelling book.
That's my grandpa Reed's Union Spelling Book.
Oh, wow. What a treasure. And what year do you think that book? There's no telling, is there?
During the Union War.
Isn't that something? Yeah. Wow. To have these treasures. Now, what else did you bring me? I want to see this one. Okay, this is the Church in the Wilderness First Assembly Memorial Service. I wonder how many of these people are still around.
How far back does that picture date?
Do you know? Let's see, we don't have a date. Oh, yes, we do, 1973. So there could possibly be some of these
Yep.
people still around, yeah. Now, what house is this in front of? First Assembly
Yeah.
Memorial Service?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now what's it? Oh, I love this picture.
This is her grandma.
This is
Mary's
Shirley
mother.
Singleton's grandmother?
That's
Oh,
Mary's mother.
How
And that's
neat.
Mom.
How neat is that? And what year do you think this is? That is, do you have a picture like this?
No, never seen that before.
This is Shirley's mom is, her grandmother is this one, is that right,
Yes.
Shirley? Yeah. Wow. That is so neat. Now, the rest of them brothers and sisters? And so you and Shirley are related
First
by
cousins.
first cousins. Okay. Isn't that
Well,
something?
she's second cousin to me.
Okay.
Mary and me.
Yeah.
That's my mother.
Yeah.
And this is
Oh,
my Kilpatrick.
how neat is that? And this has her social security card, her county resident fishing license. I love that. At 93 years old, that is too cool.
She was the sweetest woman.
Wow. Now, Mary's a lot like her.
Wow, wow, what treasures. What an amazing story. I hope that you will share this with everybody today after we get off the air. This will be put on YouTube and you can see it in its entirety. And I hope that you will share this story of as we face Independence Day. America is an independent, a wonderful country because people gave their lives to get us to the point we are today. Never give up your religious freedoms. Right now, I think that we have to end with a song that I know has touched your life. It's touched my life, Amazing Grace. And Amazing Grace is God's gift to us. And when I think about the lady who's going to be playing the piano right now, she is in the last days of what her life has been, battling dementia. She is a precious, precious lady who played the piano and sang for many of you all around North Georgia. And so here we go. We're going to let you sit back and just reflect and think about Amazing Grace.